Your Town Matters is funded by the Government of Canada through the Local Journalism Initiative and supported by Cactus Media, Canada's independent community television association.
I'm Vicki Hogarth, and welcome to Your Town Matters. I'm joined today by the Mayor of Eastern Charlotte, John Craig. Thank you so much, John, for coming in to talk with me again.
Thank you for having me. I'd just like to say one thing before we start. My brother Peter just moved to St. Andrews, and he watches your show all the time. And every time I'm on TV, he calls me. So I just want to say hello to Peter. Okay.
Hello, Peter. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
There. He owes me $10 now. Okay.
Well, John, let's start off talking about break-ins that have happened recently at churches in Eastern Charlotte. Sure. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on and what the RCMP are doing about it.
Yeah, there's been quite an uptick in the crime in Eastern Charlotte as of late. Most of it has been pinpointed to focused on churches, and that's very disturbing as far as we're concerned. And the churches have gone through quite a bit of damage and a lot of valuable stuff being stolen. And it just hasn't been one church, it's been many churches in the area, Penfield, Beaver Harbor, and further out, there's other places too, and not just in our area, other areas as well too. It almost seems like it's organized, and anyway, I've been making calls. I called I got to look at his name. He's the superintendent, the West District Commander of the RCMP. I went to the top person that I deal with in southern New Brunswick, and he has assured me that this is a priority, and he had the head corporal call me back, and they do have suspects at this point. They're building cases, and they actually put extra patrols on the churches, and they brought in a specialized RCMP Division 2 to help with the investigations as well. So this is a top priority for them, and they're going to stay on top of it. So as soon as I get any information, I'll pass it along, and as to what's happening with that. But it's very concerning. It's getting people upset because it's breaking. If they can break into churches, what's next? And so we've got and they've been able to get away with it so far. But I think the RCMP are really starting to zero in on them.
Wow, and like you said, it's even happening outside of Eastern Charlotte. Recently, Rolling Dam had 2 churches, I think it was the same night even, broken into. Is there any reason why they might be targeting churches, or does it just seem random?
Well, probably the churches are probably very vulnerable targets because they may not have big security systems, but they also have very valuable materials inside the church, whether it could be collection plates, or I'm not trying, or sound systems is the biggest thing in these churches, and like I said, there's not, the security in these buildings aren't as good as the security's probably picked up now, but that's probably why they're picking on these areas. They're probably a soft target, and they're able to get in and get out of there quickly.
I hate to call anything petty crime, because I think that we've noticed just this huge uptick in crimes that are affecting the lives daily of people in southwest New Brunswick. Are you seeing that in Eastern Charlotte the same way we're seeing it in St. Stephen, St. Andrews?
And crime is always going to be there, and to some degree, but this really was the first we've had this summer to escalate to this level. And as we all know, everything is drug related. I'm not going to hold back on that. Meth is definitely has entered into Charlotte County, and not just St. Stephen, but it's all the way through probably New Brunswick, and everything's all drug related. They need money to get the drugs, and that's what's happening in the area, and people have to have more security, more locks, and keep checking on stuff. I consider this a very high a high matter as far as we're concerned. We want something to be done, and I'm focusing. I've been this last week and a half. I've been focusing on it. Been talking to the Baptist minister, making sure he's getting answers from the investigating officers, and making sure he stays on, gets information back, because it's unnerving to these people, because people put a lot of money in the churches, and families do, and it's a sacred place. You shouldn't be doing something like that. So that's.
You touched on something really important that I think for people at home that might not fully understand the drug-related crime. A lot stems from, Diane Kern was telling this from Avenue B, that COVID really did create a greater meth issue in New Brunswick, because it's something that could be made without borders being open, easily made for cheap. So you are feeling that in Eastern Charlotte too, that there is this rise in, I don't want to broad stroke it with drugs, but meth has a particular problem right now.
Now, we've had meetings with the RCMP the last year and a half, and they said that it's meth, and it's made its way here. It's made its way across Canada. It was in BC quite a few years ago, and it's just made its way all across Canada. Now it's here, and once it's here, it's hard to get rid of, because they haven't found a solution out west yet, so it's here to stay probably for a while. So it's a damn shame, because it ruins people's lives, and once you're hooked on that, it affects your brain and everything else, and it's hurt the area, the young people, and it's created this issue with crime.
As well as homelessness that we're seeing also on the rise in rural southwest New Brunswick. I never thought in my time as a journalist here that I would cover it so frequently.
That's correct.
How is that situation in Eastern Charlotte?
We don't have as much as say, St. Stephen. I'm not saying we don't have it. We do have some of it, but not to the degree that the other areas do. There's it hasn't grown to that as bad as St. Stephen and St. John. We're in the middle, so the people seem to be gravitating to those areas. But I'm not saying we don't have it, but there is some. Yeah.
I'm going to pivot ungracefully to talk about the July council meeting for Eastern Charlotte. Just happened as we're taping this. So Councillor Thompson, at the end of the July meeting, made a motion at the end of the meeting. Can you, for people who haven't seen the meeting yet, and it is available on television and online, can you explain a little bit about what that motion was and how it was sort of a rare occurrence at a council meeting?
He put a motion on the floor to divert money that was surplus items that we had sold. I think it was a fire truck and some equipment, I think a van at one point. So there was this money, I think it's about $12,000 total. And he wanted to divert that money towards, I think it was, and it was all a surprise to me last night, what they call dry hydrants in the rural areas. And he wanted to divert it to that. The reason that, as you say, well, I didn't bring it up, but the reason you say that is a rare occurrence is that usually, I've been taught, and every municipality does the same thing, you don't bring financial things to the floor of a regular council meeting until it's been vetted. You vet those things through committees. And committees, you go through the committee level, and they bring in their experts, the fire chief or public works foreman. You get their thoughts. You always look at it and say, okay, do we really need this? Or is there a need for it? Or should the money go somewhere else? Whatever have you. Is it the right place to put these things? So usually you do a vetting process. That's why you have committees. And then it comes to the regular council meeting as a recommendation from those committees. That didn't happen last night. It didn't go through a committee. It went from a councillor's motion to a vote, and then got voted on last night. Ultimately. So that, I just want to explain. I'm not taking a side on this one way or the other. I'm just saying the reason it's a rare occurrence is because no municipality does that. They go through the proper process of going through committees, and that's why you have committees.
Bylaws, again, were another key element of the July 2024 meeting. With amalgamation, it's a work in progress that you have to rewrite them for the entire Eastern Charlotte community, not just applying to one town as they would have before. Tell us a little bit about what the bylaws regarding construction were about, and why that one didn't go through last night.
Okay, we have one I just want to get the correct number. EC-12 is the bylaw respecting building and construction for Eastern Charlotte. Now, this is a bylaw that's been in place in Blacks Harbour. It's a bylaw that's been in place in St. George for years. Basically it's all provincially mandated. It is provincial regulations. Really, the only thing that we can really change on as far as the municipality is concerned is the fee structure. And the fee structure, we didn't change the fee structure from St. George and Black Cyber. It's still $25 for a building permit and then $5 per $1,000 after that. So that fee structure still stays in it. But we had to make a bylaw to make for all Eastern Charlotte. So the staff have been working on integrating the two bylaws, putting them together, fixing it up, making sure it's all up to date. And it got through the first two readings, and for some reason it wouldn't go through the third reading last night. But in order for us to be able to give incentives, we have to get this through. There is a policy attached to go with this, a policy which, this is another thing too, a policy we want to put in place so that if you're a first-time homeowner and you want to build a house, we're going to be able to give you back all your money for your building permits. It's sort of an incentive to help out young people today getting started. Or if you're building a duplex or an apartment building of some sort to get many more people into a building, we're able to give you back that building permit and permits money back to you to help you as an incentive to build those in Eastern Charlotte. Without this being passed, we can't do that. So that's kind of upsetting at the moment. The council didn't pass that, but I have to respect their decision as mayor. But right now our hands are tied. Basically, our hands are tied as far as its incentives. Until this is passed, we can't do the policy at the same time. So that's kind of where we're at.
So for people who aren't as familiar with council and how it works, what would the next step be in terms of getting close to where you could have this policy?
Well, the next step would be to sit down with council in a closed-door meeting and hash out, okay, why and what has to be changed, what really is bothering you, what are you hearing from people? I thought we were at the point where we could get it passed last night because the council originally thought, well, with that policy we agree to it because it's helping out young people, it's helping out the companies that want to build big units and stuff like that. But I guess we have to speak to council. I called a meeting for council for next week to sit down with, to work with council. That's what you have to do, work as a team and try to find the common ground. That's the mayor's job, is to find common ground to be able to move things ahead, and that's what I'm going to try to do next week.
And you have noticed quite an uptick in terms of people wanting to develop in Eastern Charlotte, and you really are in this prime part of New Brunswick where you have the best of rural life, but you're close enough to the city for people who might want to commute to St. John.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you're seeing that Lake Utopia you mentioned before we started filming in particular is becoming a prime location.
And that's they tied the two things together. Councilor Thompson wanted these dry hydrants put in. It's because we're getting a lot of big homes and a lot of subdivisions being built outside the like St. George and Black's Harbor, like in the Lake Utopia area and by the lakes and that sort of thing too. But you have to have fire suppression in case of wildfires, and as we all know, we do have those fires in our area. So we have to have these, what they call dry hydrants. And I got educated before I got here today with fire chief. I said, what the heck is a dry hydrant? But dry hydrants, basically, if you're out in the country, they put a hydrant in, there's a pipe goes down into the ground, goes into the nearest water source. Could be a lake, could be a river. So what happens is the fire pumper will if there's a fire in that area, it will pull up to that fire hydrant and attach to it, and then start pumping through the truck, pulling the water in, and then filling the other trucks. So the others, and they can do that. They can fill a whole bunch of trucks really quickly by having that pump in action. So having these dry wells in the rural areas is actually a good thing. So, but I did get told before I got here is that DNR may be willing to pay for those things because that's in their areas, and they're willing to because there has to be a lot of work before you can put those in. First of all, you have to have the property. Can I go on that property? Just who owns the property? Is there enough room there for a fire truck to turn? Is it safe for a fire truck to be there? Is enough room for other fire trucks to be in there to be able to do this? So there's a lot of groundwork and a lot of investigation has to be done before you put these in. You just don't plunk one in the ground and everything's going to work. And it has to be in a type of ground too that's not mud, because you don't want to be sucking in mud into the trucks as well too. So it has to be like rock and gravel and that sort of thing too. But the experts will tell us that anyway as we go along. But that's what these dry hydrants is about. Did I get off?
You know what though? It's so.
But because of the building of these new homes, we do need these. But but we've been told DNR wants to be a partner with that. Either they may pay for them or help pay for the investigation of where they go.
And we did see a fire at a home that tragically a dog lost its life on Lake Utopia earlier this year.
Yes.
So all of this is very important, very necessary. And on that note, you have a new fire truck to tell us about.
Yes, we have a new fire truck for Eastern Charlotte to go into the all with the other fire trucks. We located it into Back Bay area. That seemed to be the biggest need at this point. So in Back Bay we have the Eastern Charlotte Fire Hall in Back Bay. So we're going to locate that truck down there for now. And of course, all the fire trucks down, no matter where they are, because we have a fire hall up in Bonnie River. We have one in Penfield. We have one in St. George, one in St. George, Blackshiver, Penfield, Back Bay. We have 5 of them all together. So all these trucks are all with the name Eastern Charlotte on them. So if a fire truck comes to your house, you would know where that truck originated from because they all look the same. They got the same writing on them, unless you know your fire trucks really well. But anyway, Back Bay got the new truck located down there. So last night what we did, we took the oldest truck that was there, the 91 truck, and put that into surplus, and it worked out well. Deer Island needed the truck, and so they bid for it and got it last night, and so that's going to go to Deer Island, which is close to us, because Eastern Charlotte and Deer Island worked closely together. Deer Island, believe it or not, is not part of Eastern Charlotte. They're separate, so that actually is run by the LSD, which is basically the Province of New Brunswick runs that, so they'll be paying us for that truck. But at least it stays close by, and we work closely together. So all the fittings in the trucks all work well too as well.
Another issue that was talked about last night, I shouldn't say last night, in the July council meeting was the hospitality levy
Yes.
and what you will be doing with some of the funds from that. And for people who don't know, hospitality levy, they're collected at all inns and hotels across New Brunswick. It's about 3% around on top of taxes that go into a fund that is supposed to promote the area. So it's not taxpayer money. This is money that the inns and hotels are collecting.
That's right.
And they're reserved to promote or do good in the community.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing with some of the levy.
Basically, it was quite a few years ago that the Province of New Brunswick made legislation so municipalities can have that as far as a tax. And if you go get a room at a hotel, if you look at your bill, that's on the bill. This 3%, and that money ends up going back to the municipality. And it's up to us to decide where the best place for it to go, whether it goes to a local chamber of commerce, or does it go to us doing something related to tourism. Worked out well. Granite Town Hotel is our biggest hotel in our region. They got hit by a major storm this past winter, like everybody else did, back in December, very close to Christmas, and we had that major wind and it destroyed all their signs on the highway. So they've asked if they could get some of that money. So we decided to give $30,000 of that money to the Granite Town Hotel specifically for these signs to go back up. So that way it helps out helps out them. And as our CEO said last night, is that this is not taxpayers' money. This is money that came from the hotel itself, and they just gave it to us. We're giving it back to them, so that way it helps them out and it helps out tourism.
And probably one of the more iconic hotels in the area that does collect
and
this
is
levy.
something, and I said to them in meetings, this is something tangible, something you can touch, something you can feel. It's a sign. Sometimes this money goes into advertising, or a magazine down in Boston, or whatever have you. So there's nothing really tangible you can touch and say, does it work? We don't know. We know that we can see these signs. We know it's going to work. It brings people into the area. So it's actually something we spent money on. We can see it. So that's what it's a good thing for the area.
What will be happening as we record this, if anyone's watching this after July 21st, I think, SummerFest will be over. So this part of the show will be an advertisement for next year to book your trip to Eastern Charlotte for SummerFest, which is one of the most beloved festivals in this part of the world. My personal favorite part is the soapbox derby on Saturday, where you see kids just race down the hill. they work on these soapboxes all year long. It's definitely one of my favorite parts. I love the Canal Beach Party. But give us an overview of what the 2024 festival is all about. So even if people are watching it after, it might tease them to come for
I
next
got the brochure here. You said this is being shown after the weekend?
It'll show before, but I feel like it'll show after for a while
anyway,
too.
For starting Thursday, which is tonight, which I have to be at the Music and Academic Place tonight. There's the I'll be actually opening up the weekend, and all weekend long, every day there's stuff going on. As the weekend rolls along, there's more stuff every day. Saturday is just going to be a radio straight, one event after another, and I'll be running from one spot to another, from a beach party at Canal Beach to big fireworks.
One of the biggest in New Brunswick, if not the biggest.
Yeah, and it'll be in St. George, and we have to thank Cook Aquaculture for that. They're the major sponsors for that, and it costs a lot of money to do those. You can't thank them enough. We can't thank Cook enough for everything they do anyway. But this on top of it is really nice. So, but there's so many things going on. There's a community barbecue tomorrow. The new golf course, the Hollows, they're going to be having a patio party going on there on the weekend. So box derby, as you said, floggy dogs, backyard barbecues, a pre-party. There's going to be a pre-party for the fireworks, and that's going to go on all evening long at the St. George, at the Fundy High School, sorry. And there's a band playing that night, so Saturday night. So there's going to be lots of music, lots of stuff going on, lots of places to eat, and lots of there's going to be lots of food trucks, and the biggest thing, the weather's going to be great. So you can plan all this stuff, and then the weather's bad. But I've already looked at the long-range forecast. I made a couple calls to Environment Canada to make sure that they keep it looking good all weekend. So I
would expect nothing less from the mayor.
So it's going to be a good time. It's a good way for people to come together. I find the SummerFest and summer activities is almost like at Christmas time, people get together. It's making memories, getting that sort of thing. That's what SummerFest is about. Is people getting together, making memories, everybody being happy. I know a lot of stuff goes on in the area that people get down on, but this is a good chance for people to get out of their house and get together and become a strong community.
Great reminder of why we live where we live, and why it's so special. Do you have a personal favorite part of it, or just the whole experience?
It'd be dangerous for me to say I have a favorite. No, of course, Eastern Charlotte is great. I find myself very fortunate to be the mayor of Eastern Charlotte. The first mayor, number one, and fortunate enough to be able to work for the people of Eastern Charlotte. I get the opportunity to travel around the whole area. I go to birthday parties, anniversaries, talk to people, trying to gel the area together to make people feel that they're all part of the community. And I feel fortunate every day to be able to do the job, because every area is a little different. You got Back Bay is a little different than Bonnie River, and then Beaver Harbor, and then Penfield. There's so many things going on in different areas. Great people in all the areas, and every area does something a little different. And I really enjoy it. If anybody knows me, I'm a people person, so I like to getting out and meeting different people. I go to the community kitchen. Dinners, I don't eat. I stop eating. I go there just to talk to people, because I find if I sit down and eat, I only talk to one person. So I get up and I'm going to work and go around and talk to a lot of people, and people like to see the mayor out, because if they have something they want to talk to me about, they feel more comfortable talking to me. So I usually carry some cards with me. If they need some help with a phone with an issue, I'll give them a phone number and give it to them, and they can talk to them. So it's just a good feeling to be able to get out and help people. If I can help one or two people at a dinner, that makes me feel really good.
So what you're saying is, if anyone has issues they'd like to take up with the mayor,
absolutely. And I would never back down to that, because that's and it makes me feel good, because I know, and some of the issues that people stop me to talk to me aren't municipal related. It could be a federal issue. It could be a provincial issue. Like I had one lady ask me about this new federal thing with the dental. Mm-hmm. And so I gave her the phone number. I had all the contacts. So I wrote them back in my card. And so you take this card, you call the people, and they will help you, definitely. So that makes me feel good that I can help somebody. And it may not be a municipal, but at least I can help that person get a start and get a resolution to their issue. So. But anyway, I'm getting off.
And those community kitchen dinners, I will say, are just really a powerful community experience to attend. So I recommend anyone watching this at home, if they haven't been yet, what a beautiful snapshot of your community it is to see people literally breaking bread together and spending time together over a meal on just a Monday night. It's really beautiful.
And like I said during the meeting, I think last night, I said, it's not just the food. The food is terrific, and every week's different. Every week's a little, you know, they mix it up and have something different every week. But it's not the food. It's getting out and talking to people and getting out of their house, looking at four walls and getting and you know, when that happens too, you get people in depression, and this is a good thing for the mental part of it too. It gets people out of the house, gives them reason to get out and talk to people and see people. And it's only for an hour, so you get out from between 5 and 6 to go see people, and what these people do every week is phenomenal. We're very fortunate that they do that, and like I said, it doesn't go unnoticed. People realize the amount of work that goes into that, and the planning and everything. So Eastern Charlotte is very fortunate.
Well, I always appreciate you taking the time to come here and sit down and talk to me. There's so many issues we can talk about. Some we'll save for next month.
Sure.
But I appreciate you coming in today, John. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My guest today has been the Mayor of Eastern Charlotte, John Craig. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Thank you for watching Your Town Matters.